And Eric here from Redneck Gun Lab. We've always wondered, why can't you get increased muzzle velocities out of your rifle? Why is our limit around 3,000 feet per second? What if you could push a bullet 3, 4, maybe even more hundreds of feet per second faster down that barrel? Well, we know that pressure is directly related to muzzle velocity, so we went out and we bought this Savage Axis rifle in .308 Winchester. If you look at this rifle, we've taped here on the sides some interesting data that we've researched. In the first 1.5 inches of bullet travel from the base down this barrel, that bullet will be going about 1,000 feet per second with a pressure of 50,000 psi. At 3¼ inches, that bullet will be going 1,550 feet per second with a pressure of 32,000 psi. So this is where our max pressure is. Now, we can't exceed 50,000 psi without it being dangerous to the rifle. So we started thinking, what if we could lengthen this pressure curve and maintain those pressures for longer by starting with a fast burning powder in the base of this bullet and putting a slower burning powder later, basically duplexing the load. Now, we know this is dangerous, but the theory is if we can use that faster burning powder to throw the slower burning powder farther down the barrel, we could potentially increase the muzzle velocities of that bullet.
Hi guys, it's Eric here with Redneck Gun Lab. Here's a graph that I found on Hatcher's notebook. It's on page 332. And what we're looking at here is a velocity, pressure, and time curve of 30-06. Now this is not our Savage Axis .308 Winchester, but it illustrates the problem or the what's going on in our barrel quite well. And the 30-06 is similar. This pressure curve is similar in many other calibers. As you can see right here, is one of a 223 or 556. And they both show like your velocity curve and your pressure curve and just how fast the pressure is dropping and how most of your velocity is in the first, short distance of your barrel, the first like 6 to 8 inches or even less, that you have a massive velocity gain. Like Chris was saying, like our first 1.5 inch of bullet travel, we have about 1,000 feet per second. You can see, and there's our 50,000 psi. There's our 1,000 feet per second, just over 1,000 feet per second. And then our next interval there is 3¼ inches of bullet travel. It's right there at the intersection of pressure and velocity, and that's just over 1,500. And then at 12 inches of bullet travel, we have about 2,250 feet per second. And only about 15,000 psi. So it just shows you, how fast, it illustrates how fast this pressure curve is dropping. And here's the visual representation of it on our Savage Axis. You see how fast the pressure is dropping, and therefore the acceleration is also dropping with that pressure. And so what we're trying to figure out is if we can prolong the pressure from dropping as fast as it does, just keep it up here, and therefore keep our velocities higher, make our velocities higher. So that's kind of what we're working on. There's a really interesting article on rifleshooter.com by Bill Maher. It's on the .308 Winchester, and it shows the velocity of a very short .308. I'll include the link to this site below. There's lots of interesting articles he has on there. He does a really good job with his experiments. But here you can see that a 6-inch barrel .308 shooting this 150 grain FMJ is doing 1,763 feet per second, which is, super fast velocities for such a short barrel. And so if you can have that kind of velocity with a short 6-inch barrel, if you were to able to keep your pressure up, what kind of velocity could you get if you could maintain 40,000 psi all the way out to like the 8-inch mark? At 8 inches here, it's already dropping down to 25,000. What if you could, just keep that curve up? That's what we're going to try and do by loading some fast burning powder and then some slow burning powder after that, and just try and blow that slow burning powder down the barrel and make our pressure curve better in a sense. So I don't know if I haven't been able to find much information on this. Obviously, don't do it. You'll blow your gun up. We're going to be doing it by remotely firing our gun. We'll have a magneto speed on the end of the barrel and remotely fire the gun with a string at a closed range and from a safe distance. So we'll be posting another video soon on the loads that we're going to be using and the gunpowder and all the specs of that. So look forward to the next video. Thanks.